Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to KP and Elise here. Ava was leading me to share, I believe this is a part three. I don't know what the series we're calling this, but okay. Have your way, Holy Spirit. So, um Abba was bringing to my attention what was it? Okay, thank you, Holy Spirit. Make sure you touch the spirit by the spirit to know if the word is for you, what parts are for you, and if it's a right now word or if it's, for some time later or, you know, bring this back to Abba. With that being said, Abba was leading me to share that your mantle comes with a certain level of, yeah, so it's going to be part three. Okay. So your mantle, we were talking about in part one and part two, that just your mantle comes with a certain underbelly, and just giving examples of like how it's just like, hey, they didn't want to do this. They didn't want to do this, and they're not so gung ho about it. Um, but it gets to that point of not my will, thine be done, and that's what we were speaking about in the previous video, part two. So, with that being said, going into part three, part of the mantle or the underbelly to the mantle is that not only is there the training, because you have that pruning and that cutting and whatnot, but along with that, because as we say, Abba has a million ways to do one thing and one way to do a million things. Part of the process when you're being cut and you're being pruned and crushed and you're on that potter's wheel, you're in that refining fire. Part of the things that are happening and that are going on is that you are being, how do you say, trained to basically take on the enemy, because there's an enemy you have to fight. You are being trained as a warrior, and being trained as that warrior. Warriors, come out and play. Um, you are being trained as a warrior, so that warrior is for you to go against the principalities and the kingdoms. As far as in the kingdom of darkness, their their principalities that they have. We fight not against flesh and blood, but against principalities that rule over certain regions and certain areas. And so, as well as certain, how do you say, aspects. What do I mean by that? Thank you, Holy Spirit. It's gonna be the space of certain spaces and places. So as we were talking about how maybe like in the northwest region it would be like depression and anxiety, there are certain things that aren't necessarily tailored to a region, though you do have certain regions that have certain things. So certain regions have certain things, and there are certain spirits that run through certain certain people, but that doesn't mean it can't latch onto other people that, not necessarily likely to, encounter that. What I mean by that is like you might have someone who is prone to anxiety and someone who's not prone to anxiety, but that doesn't mean, or that doesn't mean that the person who's not prone to anxiety doesn't have the opportunity in some areas or maybe in some spaces and places in their life where anxiety jumps on them, because what's happening, and especially because they're supernatural beings. Puny Boy and his minions, they're coming after you, one after the other. After there's, it's nonstop. They're not gonna wait for you to recover. They're not gonna wait for you to take a breath. They're not gonna wait for you to, what you call. Now, they have to get permission from Abba to even touch you, or there's a space of you allowing them in by leaving the door open for them. And that's basically you creating spaces and places for them to breed and breathe. Um, and that will be in the activities that we do, the things that we partake in, the things that we open up and allow. And a lot of times it's coming from our emotions. Whew, good Lord. These are heavy. um, but yes, one of the ways that that comes through is beauty. Yes, I said beauty. This one, I would just like. I feel like he dropped it on my lap kind of heavy. It was a big book too, and I was just like, but then so much stuff started clicking, and I was just like, ugh. It started to click, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, help me, Holy Spirit. So beauty is one of the many ways, as we were talking about those 50 shades of color in between. So, say beauty is like pink, this perfect, like candy blush pink. I don't know. Um, but it also goes on the flip side for the men, as far as because it's not just the women, it's also on the flip side for the men. So, say that's like this perfect shade of like candy royal blue. I don't know. That in particular one comes with a certain level of warfare, even though there is a power to it, a heavenly divine power to it. Thank you, Holy Spirit. So, just like I'm talking about the mantle when you're a prophet and you are a mouthpiece for the Lord, you have a certain level of warfare that comes with that. What I mean by that is it's going to come with naysayers. It's going to come with haters. It's going to come with mockers. It's going to come with Sadducee and Pharisee type spirits that are coming at you, whether that be comments or videos, and them clipping things and taking things and running with certain things, taking things out of context. Um, you know, a lot of like what you would call cyberbullying. You have a lot of that in that, as well as just in front of you. Most of the time it's going to be, of course, doing videos, it's going to be more on that cyberbullying side. But that doesn't mean if you're not going to speak somewhere, or if you aren't in front of someone that you're speaking to, that there might be people who aren't comfortable with it and might say something like the Karens, um just very off the wall. And you can tell a lot of them have like a lot of have some darkness on them, and this the light that's irritating them. As we spoke about, the light that's irritating them is going to be the God in you that's irritating the demons in them, and that God in you is like kryptonite to them. As far as in how kryptonite is for Superman, it's the same thing for the darkness, as far as in the demons and whatnot. Your light, the God in you, is like kryptonite to the demons and darkness that's inside of someone else, or that is latched on and attached to someone else. That mantle comes with a certain level of ridicule, a certain level of criticism and judgment. It comes with it. It comes with it. You can't clip it out. You can't maneuver around it. You can't dodge it. You can't hide from it. It's a certain level of that comes with it. So, in those 50 shades of colors, one of the colors being beauty or handsomeness, attractiveness, fairness. With that in particularly comes with a level of warfare. I didn't know this, and when Abba dropped it in my spirit and started connecting the dots, I said, whoa, 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 wait a minute. But because he was connecting the dots, it was like, oh, snap. So, first off, there is a level of power to beauty. And when it comes down to beauty, handsomeness, fairness, every person, you got to hear this with your spiritual ears. It's not a space of, oh, I'm going to make this person more attractive and this person ugly or anything like that. Because nobody's ugly, I don't think. I feel like everybody has a beauty in their own right, as well as, hey, there there's someone that is that match for you. There is someone that you do it for. There is someone that you do it for. With that being said, thank you, Holy Spirit. He was bringing to my attention, where are we? I think it was Genesis. Is it? Yeah, it is Genesis. Hold on one second. Um, Let me find it. Okay, that. Okay, thank you. Abba was bringing me to. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Thank you. It was Genesis 29, and we're looking at verse 17. It says, Leah was tender eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well favored. So another version says, Rachel was fair, but Leah had no twinkle in her eye. Abba gave this to me as a means of certain levels of, just because I'm I'm gonna make it all make sense, but I need you to understand that there's a certain level of power that comes with your handsomeness, that comes with your beauty, that comes with your fairness. There's a certain level of power because it does draw attraction. It does draw people, and that's also for you to basically be like a beacon in order for you to be a fisher of men. The whole point of your purpose as well, not just for you to have these talents and have these skills and learn about the ones that you're not necessarily aware of, but the whole point of you doing that and being a ambassador to the kingdom by bringing heaven to earth is for you to be able to be a fisher of men, catching souls, protecting souls, saving souls that the kingdom of darkness cannot snatch anymore. You get me? That's the whole point. And so you having a level of beauty has a level of power. You're like a beacon that draws. It's like moth to a flame. It draws people in, and certain people can handle that certain level of beauty. um so just like with Rachel have being beautiful and highly favored, but then Leah not really having a twinkle in her eye, it wasn't that it's this space of, oh, I'm gonna make her beautiful and her not. It's this space of like the 5 talents. The one, uh when you had Abba, he gave one talent, he gave one 2 talents, and he gave one 5 talents. You see, the one with the 5 talents, he multiplied it and made it 10. The other one that had 2 talents, he multiplied it and made it 4. But the one that had the 1 talent, he took it and he buried it. And he said, You wicked and evil servant. And he took that talent from him and gave it to one of the ones that had multiplied their talent. With getting in that, as far as in the 5 talents, there's a level that you can handle. The one that got the 1 talent, he can only handle that capacity for the 1 talent. The one that had the 2 talents only had the capacity for the 2 talents. The one that had 5 had the capacity for 5 talents. What I'm getting at is that you may have a twinkle in your eye, and someone else may be considered to not necessarily have a twinkle in their eye. Like, one is more attractive, one is less attractive, but it does not take away. Like I said, there's somebody for you. There's somebody blinking at you. Like, ooh, 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 wee. There's somebody blinking at you. But just like, thank you, Holy Spirit, there are stars and there's the sun. You have the sun, is that's the you shine like the light from the sun. You have that biggest beam of light that's just beaming everywhere. But then you have the smaller or medium sized ones that are going to be stars, and then you have smaller ones that are small stars. Thank you, Holy Spirit. um when I walk out of the door to take my shorty to her bus stop, it's still dark outside. And as it's becoming daylight savings, of course, it's getting lighter outside. But when it's dark outside, you can see the what is it, Orion's belt, or what they call Orion's belt. And you can see that it's supposed to be like a warrior, but you see the stars that connect it. Orion's belt has a certain size of stars, but you see a couple of stars that, how do you say, connect the dots. Some of them are bigger or brighter than the others. However, when you're looking at that, it does not take away from the light that you have. So even if there, and there's a lot of, thank you, Holy Spirit, there's a space where you may shine brighter because of the lane that you have. You may shine brighter in the space of maybe being considered a lesser light or less attractive. You may shine brighter in because you are trained in other areas. Get me? Where a person who may be seen more attractive or has a brighter light doesn't shine as bright in that area. It's like Mona Lisa to a Monet. Thank you, Holy Spirit. You cannot compare them, and that's the part that we get tripped up at, is we're comparing instead of letting every beauty be in its own right, letting every star, letting every yes, letting every star, no matter the size, shine as bright as the sun. You shine like the light from the sun, no matter what size star you are. You might be a teeny star, you might be a small star, you might be a medium-sized star, you might be a large star, you might be an extra large star. And you might just have this fairness and this beauty, but it does not take away from that light or that brightness that you shine. Oh, so sorry. The Holy Spirit is bringing to my attention Bread Barbershop. So Barbershop, there's this character named Butter, and he's actually a stick of butter, but he's considered like beautiful no matter how he looks. Like there's the episode where he there was these girls that basically fainted because of how beautiful he was. And they were trying to basically like make him ugly in the barbershop. So they were trying to make him ugly, but no matter what they tried, he was still beautiful. And that just goes to show that, hey, there's a certain level of attractiveness that's attractive to certain people. Certain people like a certain thing. It's attractive to that might be attractive to that person, but not attractive to that person. You get me? So there's a level of that has power. And um, with that having power, there's that flip side to it, or the warfare side to it, that underbelly to it. Beauty comes with warfare. Beauty comes with warfare in the sense, help me, Holy Spirit. Beauty comes with warfare in the sense that mm, you are going to basically be exposed. What I mean by that is it's kind of like being a celebrity or being famous. There's all eyes on you. There's spotlight on you. There is because you're also that beacon. It's almost like you're this. Thank you, Holy Spirit. He's bringing to my attention Wreck It Ralph. If you watch the first one, when they were in the cola lava mountain, um, he was trying to save the game, and he basically smashed the Mentos down that fell into the cola lava, and it spewed out. And when it spewed out, just like you drop Mentos into a Coca-Cola, it spewed out like that. It just went all the way up, and as it did so, it was a light, though. It was like a beacon of light, and it drew all of the bugs in, because there were like bugs that were there. It drew them all in and basically burnt them up because it was still lava. And so there's a level to that is a lot that's being attracted to you, a lot that's being drawn to you. So you have a level of the women, that warfare that is being brought when you're a woman is going to be the men, of course, that think you are beautiful, that think you are attractive, and that think that they can shoot their shot. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be entertaining them or that doesn't, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be how they would say, leading them on or giving them the idea that they could do whatever. No, sometimes you're just that beautiful, you're just that gorgeous, where it's like, hey, I'm gonna shoot my shot. um and some of them are persistent with it, and then you have some of them that are um that take it too far, that don't have any kind of like respect. But on the flip side of that, you as a woman, you're going to have the women that are going to be your foes or frenemies. Very seldom is it going to be friends. For the most part, it's going to be foes and frenemies. Foes are going to be just that, people who don't like you, don't care for you, want to see your demise, all the things. But you have ones that are frenemies, which means they don't come as loud as the foes. The foes blatantly like don't like you, want to fight with you. The cattiness. Thank you, Holy Spirit. He's bringing to my attention all of these reality shows with all these like Bad Girls Club or like Mormon wives, basketball wives, all that cattiness, and that the what they be arguing about and what they be talking about. It's like, bruh, for real. And you can see it's a level of like, not only is it a level of beauty, but it's also the level of like who's better in the space of competition and comparing. But with that, the women get very catty with it. They get very viperous with it. On the flip side, with the men, yes, you are attracting a lot of the women. And in you attracting a lot of the women, some of these women can get real grimy. They can get real dirty. Whether that's a space of trying to trap them, as far as in like poking holes in certain things, blink, blink, blink. Um, them trying to um, basically get them, because there's this level of women thinking that with their beauty and with their bodies that they can get men to do things for them, or get men to change, or get men to basically like eating out of the palm of their hand, that they see women with beauty do, but they try to imitate it. And there is a level of beauty to the women, of course, that still breeds that or breeds on that. And then also with the men, if you have the men on that flip side, there is gonna be the men on the flip side, as far as in, you got other men that, okay, why do they look like that? Why do they attract all of the women? Da, 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 da. And you might have the men that might get a little, what you call, that might be setting them up, or that might be in a space of like um competition with them, or be in a space of just like, you know, the warfare part of it is just that negative part, where it's still those foes and frenemies with even men that are attractive or handsome. They're going to have those ones that are foes. It's like, bruh, you can tell, like, okay, look, we don't like you. But there's going to be the ones that are frenemies, which means there's some that, they still have a level of handsomeness and whatnot that can kind of rival, in which case they, but they're not, maybe not be as attractive, and so there's still that space where they try to make friends, but then there's still that underlying competition of like who's going to get the girl. Now, I want to say that it's not as viperous and as catty as it is with the women than it is with the men, but you have that level of warfare that's going on either side, where that beauty is breeding a level of like, you're a beacon, and that is drawing in, yes, the people that like you, but is also drawing in the people that don't like you, and the people that maybe are nice about it but still don't like you. And there's nothing that you can do about it in that space. Your beauty is your beauty, and what happens is, if your handsomeness is your handsomeness, and what happens is, when you're trying to swallow or choke that down, um basically trying to dim your light, what you're basically doing is almost giving them a pass to try and step in your lane.